starting with number 1. Number 1 is that all living things are made of cells. All living things are made of cells. Now, they can be made of one cell. There are unicellular organisms, such as bacteria. It's an example of a unicellular organism. Or they can be multicellular, such as a human. Okay, but all living things are made of cells because it's agreed upon that the cell is the basic unit of life. And we will be looking at the different types of cells and their structure throughout this year. But here's just a basic diagram. Okay, so all living things are made of cells. The second thing is that all living things are able to reproduce. All living things are able to reproduce, which we talked about a little bit ago. And this is just referring to the process by which living things give rise to offspring. Now, this can happen at the level of a bacteria, where one bacteria divides into two. This is called bacteria binary fission. It's an example of reproduction of the bacteria. Or it can be a more complex process where you have two humans reproducing offspring. Okay. So all living things are made of cells. All living things reproduce. Third, all living things contain what's referred to as complex chemistry. Complex chemistry. All living things have complex chemistry. And the idea here is that all living things, they have many sets of reactions that we'll talk about in Unit 3 occurring within them, or within the cells of a living organism, that are vital for survival. Okay, most notably, we'll be talking about the sets of reactions that fall into the category of metabolism or metabolic reactions. And this is referring to reactions that obtain energy from nutrients. Okay, but all living things have this ability to carry out complex chemistry, these sets of reactions occurring within the cell that are needed for their survival. we get out in 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Number 4. So all living things are made of cells. They all reproduce. They all have complex chemistry. Okay, but number 4 is that all living things have the ability to respond to the environment. All living things have the ability to respond to the environment. In other words, they can detect a change in the environment and react. So all living things can't necessarily move like a human is walking and moving, or an animal is walking and moving, but all living things have the ability to respond to the environment. So a good example, you could think of a little turtle. Right? It can detect a change in the environment, maybe that is seen as a threat, which can cause the turtle to shrink its head back into its shell. Right? There are examples of plants that can respond to the environment and react accordingly. But that's number 4. Okay. Last two. Last two here are number 5. All living things have the ability to maintain what's called homeostasis. Homeostasis is just referring to stable internal conditions. So whether you're a bacteria or a human, there's an ability to maintain the internal conditions of that organism such that they're able to survive. So an example could be something like body temperature in humans. Right, there's an ability to maintain a stable body temperature in humans that allows our cells to survive and processes to continue in our body. Okay, and our last one is that all living things at some point in their lifespan grow and develop. So there are changes observed throughout the lifespan of a living thing. Okay, and if you think about a seed being planted, growth is observed and development has occurred over the lifespan. Okay, so these 6, again, are not